Hello everyone and welcome to a new exciting episode of Tech Unveiled. Did you know that over 90% of Ericsson installed base worldwide are remote radios? And that these radios are key to deliver nationwide 5G performance. In this episode, we will learn how service providers can address 5G with radio modernization that not only maintain the high performance, but also reduce size, weight, and power consumption. I'm Lena, and I will be your guide to unveil this topic. So please join me and let's go meet our experts. So with me here in the studio today, I have Blomgren, Head of Remote Radios, and Staudte, Strategic Product Manager for Remote Radios. Welcome to Tech Unveiled.
Thank you, Lena.
Thank you, Lena.
It's great to have you here. And in the beginning, we mentioned that remote radios represent over 90% of the installed base. So obviously a vital part of our mobile networks. But before we dive into details, could you, Don, maybe explain to us what is a remote radio and why is it so important?
Yeah, we have two types of radios today. We have remote radios like these ones, and then we have antenna integrated radios. Now, the remote radio is separated from the antenna, but it can be placed near the antenna or it can be placed somewhere else on site where it's more convenient. Now, what the remote radio does is it takes signals coming from the RAN compute or baseband part and then transforms them into something which goes through the antenna and then is sent out to the subscribers. And it also does the reverse process. Now, why is it important? Well, there's a couple of things. Firstly is that if you look at what our service providers have for spectrum, it's mainly in the range of 600 megahertz to 2.6 gigahertz. And these bands are really important because they provide the big coverage. Now, the remote radios are perfect for this type of spectrum for a couple of reasons. Firstly is that we find that with a radio supporting somewhere between 2 and 8 antenna branches, we get a very good performance boost to help improve the coverage and the capacity. And at the same time, we can do this in a reasonable size and weight and a reasonable power consumption. So this is why they're so important.
I see. Thanks for setting the scene for us here. And then moving over to you, Mats, with 5G rollout and the need to deliver superior performance for end users, what requirements does that put on the remote radios?
Yeah, so the 5G challenge can be said to be twofold for service providers. First, they need to deploy new spectrum, but they also need to make the existing spectrum 5G ready. So for remote radios, this means a couple of things. First of all, some of the radios we have out there are actually not 5G ready. So they need to be modernized. But then we need to get a lot more equipment on site for these new spectrum, to support these new spectrum rollouts. And we have very real constraints when it comes to size, weight, but also power consumption on the radio sites. And this is, in many cases, an unsolvable equation if you stick to the single band practice that we used to have.
I see. So looking then at our new generation of multiband radios, how have we evolved them to meet these customer demands?
Okay, I think one of the key things is that we have a new generation of something we call Ericsson Silicon. And in that generation, we have a custom-built variant for the remote radios. And what that allows us to do is get all the performance we need into a small package while getting the size and weight and power consumption down. Another key thing with that is that we've done new things with our power amplifier technology, both on the hardware and software side, and this adds to the improvements in size and weight. And finally, we've done some things in the what we call sleep functionality to improve energy efficiency. So there's several things we've put into this radio.
So it sounds like the design approach is key here.
Yeah, it's really important.
Yeah, but then Mats, if we look at the service providers, so what are the benefits that they can get from using these multiband radios with this new design approach?
I think we boil it down to 4 things.
Yep.
So energy efficiency, footprint, but then also we have future-proofness and performance. So when it comes to the energy efficiency, Don mentioned that already a bit, but we have this new generation.
Yeah.
New generation multiband radio. It has roughly 25% improved energy efficiency compared to the previous generation. And that translates, of course, to a reduced electrical bill and helps the environment, but also then allows us then to build a much more compact unit since it reduces the need for cooling. And we only have passive cooling, so these fins here. So there are no moving parts that can break in this one. So that's very good thing. And Don mentioned also deep sleep. So at night, for example, or I don't know, at summertime in the ski resort, this unit can go into deep sleep and then it will not consume more than an old-fashioned light bulb, so 30 watts, which is a major step forward.
That's impressive.
And then on footprint, this is a new unit, but we have an older unit here as well. This one is a 4 antenna branch radio unit with 2 bands, and this is a 2 antenna branch radio unit with 1 band. So you actually, this one will replace 4 of these on site. That frees up a lot of space for other things that you need to put there.
Wow. But you also mentioned performance and future-proofness, right?
Yes.
So maybe you, Don, can elaborate a bit on those last 2 benefits.
Yeah, sure. The performance, one of the key things about the dual band or multi-band radios is that the 2 bands or 3 bands, whatever, on the downlink, they can create some form of interference on the uplink or in the receivers, and that would destroy the coverage. Now, in the new custom silicon, we have something which prevents this phenomenon, which is called PIM, and what we call this prevention is PIM cancellation. So this is in the radio avoiding that issue. Now, regarding the future-proofness, there's a couple things. We have this concept called Ericsson spectrum sharing, which allows operators to seamlessly move the traffic from 4G to 5G, and spectrum sharing is supported in these units here. So this is quite important. The other thing is that there's a lot happening in the general architecture, looking at Cloud RAN and other types of architectures, and the traditional interfaces on these radios aren't very good for that. But now in this new radio, we have something called Packet Switch Fronthaul, or ECPRE, which allows a much more flexible approach for the new architectures. So this is the future-proofness part.
I see. So to summarize, how would you say that Ericsson is unique in the way we approach 5G and network modernization with our then performance, footprint, energy efficiency approach?
Okay, I think the key part here is, again, the Ericsson silicon here, because this allows us to get the performance benefits into the small package here. And so this is the one part. And the other thing is with the new technology we've got for the hardware, software, giving the efficiency improvements, that is the other unique part. And together with this, we hope that the remote radios will enable and the service providers to offer the subscribers very good nationwide coverage for 5G.
Thank you, Don, and thank you, Mats, for both of you sharing your expertise with us here today. And thank you all for joining us. And next time you use your phone to browse the internet or make a phone call, then it's very probable that that signal is coming from a remote radio. And if not yet already, then sometime soon that signal will be on 5G. So if you want to learn more about remote radios, I can warmly recommend you to read our blog. You find it together with all our previous episodes of Tech Unveiled on ericsson.com/techunveiled. I hope to see all of you back soon. Thank you and bye for now.